में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है, वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी। ये एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और सातवें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज
Friends, a very good morning to all of you, and I welcome you today on Investor Advantage webinar that we conduct every Thursday. And this webinar is about an important decision of your life, which is perhaps once in a lifetime that you take. And this decision is about taking or starting a business of your own. So I'll set a perspective for this webinar. I'll be happy to take any questions that you have with respect to any opportunity, investment that you are currently exploring or you've decided to take. So I'll take you through a little bit about our company, Franchise India. I'll also set a perspective on franchise industry at large, how big the opportunity is. And then we'll talk about how to take a decision of buying a business. And at Franchise India, we, through our 27 years of experience, we've validated learning and working with nearly 1 million investors to help them take a guided assistance in starting a business. We have developed a complete scientific methodology that goes to understand how we assess, how we start a business. So I'll talk about the various assessment tools that any business buyer must undertake before starting a business. So friends at Franchise India, we work with aspiring entrepreneurs like yourself to help them in the most important decision of starting a business. And we proudly call ourselves Start Your Own Business Specialists. This is the only platform in the country where anybody can come, take understanding on the opportunities which are available, equally also educate themselves on the various business models, industry, and also the industry experts from franchising. And starting a business is not something easy, but it requires a lot of understanding of various nuances, and especially for the first time business buyers, there are many questions that needs to be answered. So at Franchise India, we are proud and humbled that we have worked with this ever-growing community of aspirational entrepreneurs, which is also today a very evolved community as awareness on businesses, brands, industries, international brands, India, entry, all that has come a very long way. And we work with a lot of credible companies, enterprises, and corporates to help them also develop their franchise network. And most of these companies, I am happy to also share, that have launched their franchisees and their franchise business model through Franchise India platform. So our group, Franchise India, currently operates in about 14 countries across the globe. And internationally, we are known by the name of Fran Global, which operates in about 14 countries. We are present in about 97 cities in India, holding about a 90% market share. And which also means that most probably wherever you are coming from, I would have my local advisor, consultant, partner who would be from your city, who you could also meet and brainstorm any particular opportunity that is going on in your mind. So at the group level, we create a lot of intelligence synergies and bring in the combined strength, which is leveraged by the group companies. We have interest in franchising, licensing, mid-market M&A, and also market entries. But what has remained very, very constant with us the last 27 years and the driving force, which is a very big catalyst, I would say, in the entire ecosystem and the space. We have been focused on being investor-centric and a franchise-focused company, wherein we work with people looking at business opportunities in the franchising landscape. And we're also looking for trends which are mega trends in international markets. And our teams continuously reaches out to such companies and concepts in Indian market and also from the international markets, which our investor community is looking to invest in. So it is not just what we have, we offer you, but equally based on the requirements of our investor community, we also proactively reach out to companies, both Indian companies and international companies, to bring them to the Indian market. And as a prime mover in this ecosystem, we have built a very strong equity with business buyers who engage through all our platforms, take advice before investing in a business opportunity. And we also offer a very strong proposition for companies by offering complete solutions, from making them franchise ready to helping them expand their footprint. All that is done through our current distribution in India and overseas markets. So friends, I'll also request all of you to make the session a little engaging. And if you can also let me know a bit about you, your backgrounds, which city that you come from. So I'll ask some questions. If you can use the Q&A box to answer these questions and help me know more about you. So I'll ask you some questions. If you can go in the Q&A box and write these questions. My first question would be about the industry that you're interested in. And you can go as specific as the category or the subcategory. For example, you say retail, but in retail, I want to start a jewelry business. I want to start a furniture business. I want to start a footwear store or a fashion store. So you can be as specific as that. So if you can go ahead and write what industry are you interested in or the category, subcategory. Second, I'll also like to know if you already have an experience of running any form of business, which can be your own business that you run or maybe a franchise business that you had experience or you currently run, would also be helpful for me to know. And my third question is on the city where you want to start the business. So what industry are you interested in? Second, if you have any experience of running a business, own business or a franchise business. And third is the city that you want to invest in. And if you can also share the investment that you are currently considering, this will help me to know a bit about you. So I see a lot of our investors who have joined in. Friends, make the session interactive. More I know about you, I'll be able to interact and engage. So you can use the Q&A box that you all see at the bottom of your screens. And while you do that, I'll wait for you to write that and I'll pick up your name and also your question, which can also benefit your friends who have joined in. And while I wait for you to do that, I'll talk a little bit on franchising and how big this industry is, because the first thought that comes to anybody's mind before they get into something is how big that industry is. And is it going to sustain and be relevant in the times to come, right? So that's the most important aspect. So if we talk about India, we are sitting at one of the most opportune times where the entire globe, I would say, is looking at India as the next big investment opportunity. And our current economic fundamentals, they signal a very, very strong potential. And today, India is the powerhouse in the globalized world, right? And franchising is a very, very big impact market. And if you look at how we consume and what we consume today, it touches everything that we consume in our everyday life. And franchising cuts across every industry. We all have seen successful franchise companies across all sectors. This is one question I get more often than others. What is the best industry or category to get in? But more than that, because we've seen successful businesses across all industries, categories, whether that's food, that's retail, whether that's wellness or education, skill development. You name an industry or a category, and we have some of the top performing and successful companies and also franchisees operating across these industries. So the most pertinent question is, what is my fitment? And if that category, that business is right for me to get in or not. And that is what we'll answer today. So if you look at the global size of the industry today, franchise industry is about $5 trillion. And India is about $180 billion industry. And we are also the second largest franchise market in the world after America. Now, franchising in India in the last, I would say, 20 odd years have grown almost at about, 4x growth, especially from 2013 to about 2024, I would say. The next 10 years, there'll be a very, very big growth in this industry, which is almost about 10x in the next 10 years, which means that the growth that we saw in the last 10 years and the growth that we see in the next 10 years will be 10x of that. Sitting at about $180 billion today, the industry is growing at about 30% year on year. And I'll tell you why this industry is going to become more big and what fundamental reasons reflect the reason of the growth of this industry. Now, when we look at our consumption story of India, this is very interesting, very, very big. And this is also what makes our economy, our country resilient. We have a massive consumption engine, and consumption cycles are also changing, right? So when I say consumption cycles are changing, which also means that maybe 10 years back, what we are consuming more of that, right? So maybe I was eating out once in a month 5 years back. Today, look at your consumption cycles. How many times in a week you go out or you order? All these consumption cycles are changing. Having said that, while these are increasing, as a country, we are still low per capita in a lot of categories, but the narrative is changing. Also, a similar narrative I want to give in most of the consumer categories that we consume today. 30 years back, maybe 1990s, these categories today have also become 4 times larger than what they were. Maybe industries like paints, shoes, food, healthcare, all that we're consuming today is much more than we were consuming 10 years back. The second highlight I want to share is how our entire consumption is also becoming formalized, which means everything that we consume today is coming from a branded environment, right? So from the dairy that we consume, our morning milk and other dairy products, to the school our children go to the services that we take at maybe salons, to hospitals, to the hotels, all this is coming from a franchise environment. And today, there is also a big demand and growth. What we saw 20 years back was modernization of retail. A lot of retail businesses modernized and they started becoming branded. Today, even services are getting branded, from direct to consumer healthcare services to quick commerce services, which companies like Amazon, which have recently gotten Blinkit, Zomato are bringing in. These are all services which are also becoming branded now. The third area which I want to talk about is very important. When we started our business 27 years back, the first time business buyer community was very, very small. Out of 100 businesses we used to sell, only 10% of people were first time business buyers who came and took these franchisees. And fast forward 27 years now, this community has become very big. Today, 60% of total business buyer community who takes and engages with us are largely people who have no experience of running a business. And this number is further going to go up in the next 5 years. Approximately 70-75% would be first time business buyers, which are coming and getting businesses for themselves. And this is because the entrepreneur legacy in India is very, very big, and franchising and entrepreneurship is also proportionate, right? And as the opportunity and the nation becomes big and diversity of running these businesses become a little more complex, the franchise businesses will become more and more stronger, right? So guys, go ahead. If you have any questions, you can write that in the Q&A box. I'll be happy to take these questions. And quickly, I'll come down to the assessment tools which are important for any business buyer. As a prospective franchisee, I would say you need to look at the top 5 criteria to consider when you look to invest in a business opportunity. And the first I would say is the ease of doing the business. This is something which a lot of people don't even comprehend and understand. So ease of doing a business is the first top criteria which you should consider. Second, you need to also analyze your risk and reward. And because there's a lot of fear which comes with uncertainty of one, tries to get into a new business. So what are the risks and the reward which are attached to the business? Third, what is your go-to market and the support given by the company? Fourth, which is important, is how is the life of the opportunity how long is the horizon of that opportunity? How big is the life of the opportunity? Because life of the opportunity actually defines your return on the investment, which a lot of investors don't understand, right? So that's very important. And finally, is the industry or the specific category, subcategory insights that you have to go very deep down, right? And we understand entrepreneurship journey is not easy. It requires a lot of planning on timelines, on the finances that you need to put in, location, people in your inner circle, your partners that you want to bring in. So all that requires sufficient time to do your own in-depth research and also due diligence. And I would also say a lot of people have been drawn towards franchising. And if it's right for you, it can be a roadmap to profitable business ownership. And as a franchise consultant at Franchise India, we carry a huge responsibility in helping potential business buyers to make that right and informed decision of buying a business, which comes with a lot of our validated learning from helping you in choosing the brands, to financial expectations, to helping you evaluate the opportunity vis-a-vis the other competition which is available in the market, and even your market, which is your micro market, return on the investment, how the industry has grown, what are the predictable cash flows or the margins. And above all, the biggest emphasis that we do is help in reducing the risk of the investment, which again comes with a lot of our structured approach, which is a mix of your initial investment, your operating forecast, your competition analysis, support from the companies, the legal terms, and most importantly, I would say the exit terms which are defined in the agreement. So all that is something that our teams at Franchise India actually work with every business buyer. And I'll talk about their 5 assessment tools which any business buyer must go through before finalizing an opportunity. And these 5 assessment tools include your own self-assessment, which is first and foremost. Second is the assessment on the industry that you want to get in. Third is the market where you want to own and operate. And this is what I had asked you when I started off. Fourth is you need to do a competitive assessment, which is maybe at the national level, at the regional level, but most importantly, your market where you operating. So market, which is your micro market, is very important to be analyzed. And the fifth assessment is the brand that you have selected. So across these 5 assessment tools, if you're able to assess all these tools and put in our own fitment, how well we fit in against these 5 assessment tools, we are in a very good position to understand what opportunity is right for us or not. And at Franchise India, we have created this tool, which I'll also showcase in a while. And if you score under these assessment tools at least 60% in these tick marks, then we say the opportunity that you have selected is great. But if your overall assessment and score is less than 60%, then we advise you to go back on maybe the canvas and redo. And there can be certain tools or assessment areas which you fared better than the others, right? So coming down to the first assessment tool, I call the self-assessment is the most powerful and the most valuable tool for any aspiring business entrepreneur. And you need to do a self-discovery, be honest, as always I say, to yourself, know what your strengths and weaknesses are, define them and write them. So that's very, very important. You need to understand your own entrepreneurial mindset, which means what entrepreneurship means to you. It can mean different to all of us out here, right? It can mean different to me, it can be different to you. And that is because our life goals and business goals need to align. We have our life goals which are very unique to us. So when you look at your first set, which is own self-assessment, life goals and business goals are first and foremost to be written down, and which can be the life events, your life goals, your time commitment that you want to bring in the business. That's very, very important. And these can be short-term, mid-term, or long-term goals which are attached to our overall life goals. So that's very important here. Second, like I said, is your financial goal. Here you need to understand the 3 dimensions of financial goal, which has to be taken in consideration at the same time, right? So the 3 dimensions of financial goals are the timeline for you to achieve that financial goal. Second is the risk that you're willing to take on that financial goal. And third is the return that you expect from that investment. And this is also very, very logical, and maybe a simile which I can draw across these 3 categories which I talked about. If you look at any investment that we make, there are different asset classes where we can categorize our fundamental goals, right? So the first fundamental goal can be safety, where I want to put my money, but I want to have my investment being safe. I don't want to take any risk on the investment. Second is income, which should be generated from the investment I do. And third is growth, right? So when you look at safety as your fundamental financial goal, it also means that you don't want to take too much of risk. When you don't take too much of risk, your reward or return on the investment is also low. So there are businesses which give you safety, but your return on investment is low because your risk involved in the business is low. And the same goes for high growth businesses, where if you're looking at a high growth business, you will have some risk involved in the business, but your growth prospects, or I would say return prospects, are also higher, right? And this can be seen in different formats in franchising, which are franchisee-owned company-operated models. These are franchisee-owned franchisee-operated models. In certain business models, the company de-risks their franchise partner. They give some kind of minimum guarantees or do some kind of operating expense management. So wherever the company is de-risking you, also means that taking some part of the risk, which means the return on the investment for a franchisee becomes low. So we can talk about different investments also, which is again a very big category altogether to be discussed, and different models which operate in franchise businesses. But you need to align your financial goals. Third, you need to understand how much time you have as a business owner to be involved in business, which is very, very critical, because largely in India, globally, 90% of businesses operate on franchisee owned and franchisee operated model. And a very small percentage, which I would say about 5 to 10% businesses would operate on a franchisee owned company operated business model. But most of these businesses, 99% of these businesses, where the company requires only you to put the investment and the company decides to operate, are businesses which requires comparatively a very high investment, which can start upwards of say 1 crores to about 10 crores and beyond. And industries which follow a franchise owned company operated model include largely your K-12, for that matter, healthcare industries like hospitals, some K-12 schools, because they don't need your expertise to operate the business. They bring in their bandwidth, but you bring in the fitment of finance, which can be clubbed with the property that you own, which can be strategic for the investment. So that's very important. The second area is to assess the industry that you want to get in. Here you need to look at the total addressable market, how big the total addressable market in that industry is, how crowded it is it a commoditized industry or a category that you are getting in? Are you getting into something where you can also have a first mover advantage? So you need to understand that. And the second area, when you look at industry, is to also think of the growth prospects, right? So when we look at any investment, we look at our time horizon of years and not months. So any industry that we want to put our hands in needs to be future fit, which means it needs to be relevant for the next at least 10 to 20 years. And different industries and different, I would say, categories that we invest in, and they have a horizon anything from 5 years to 20, 30, and even beyond. And then comes your market assessment, which means a lot of working has to be done on the micro market that you want to operate. And you need to also consider aspects like at what stage is that business at? You know, the brand that you have selected, at what stage is the business at? Is it at a startup stage, growth stage, or they're at a scale stage? Because at different stages of the company's life cycle, there are different nuances, dimensions. The business model of the companies would also change based on the business life cycle or stage of the business they are. Second, you need to understand, like I said, the industry and the relevance of that category in your market. You know, when electric vehicle as a category started, some states were more receptive to accepting electric vehicle than the other states. And third, I would talk about is the regulations, which are very important, because regulations for starting a business are different for state and each state. So these are both center and state subject, which could include your drug license, it could include your liquor license, your food license policies. Very, very important to be understood. And then comes the location where you want to run the business, and which includes, one thumb rule, which I always advise our entrepreneurs to follow. Always see where your competition is present. So even in the smallest market that you operate out of, look at maybe the top 3 competitors in the market for that brand that you have selected, and what markets are they operating in your city, and which of these locations that they currently operate out of perform the best, which means which location has the higher throughput, highest efficiency. And if you open next to them, your probability of being successful in that location will be very, very high. And the fourth area is competition assessment, where you look at the competitive advantage. I would say look at the penetration of the brand, how the brand has been performing, what locations are they performing. Some brands perform better on high street, some brands perform better in malls, and even in the malls, what location are you operating out of, right? That's very, very important. So penetration of the brand, how the brand is performing across different markets and across different locations and different formats. That's very important. And the offering the company has, the differentiation that they bring in their value proposition, from go-to-market support the company brings in, technology aspect which they bring in. So any kind of differentiation which the company is bringing, which can be in the patents, which can be in the licensing requirements, in technology, all that are very important to be understood. And finally comes the assessment of the brand which you have selected. I always say not all franchisors are same. So you as a business owner need to do your research, get to know everything you need to about the franchisor, which includes a lot of things like how long the business has been into operations, what is the average success rate of a franchise partner, and how long the franchisees stay on an average in the business, which can be true for a lot of, I would say, mature companies which have been franchising for, I would say, more than 5 years, because typical term of an agreement for a business is 5 years. But for a lot of new startup companies which are rapidly expanding, you can have other criteria, which can be their own company operated stores, or maybe how their subscribers are if these are D2C companies. All these dynamics would help you to understand the strength of the company, right? And when you select the brand, you need to look at the credibility of the company, the legacy of the company, the commitment of the founders on the business, some testimonials from their franchise partners. The second area is the systems and processes have to be very, very strongly and in detail defined, which means as the company decides to scale and grow, they need to be process oriented, right? So the companies have SOPs which are trained, on which the company trains their franchisees, and these SOPs help a franchise partner to become more operationally efficient, helps them to reduce the efficiency and easy to replicate. And when you have defined SOPs, it also helps you to perfect your customer service, which I would say is the heart of running your business. The third area is to understand the operating cost in the business, working capital which is required, and any kind of reinvestment which the business requires over a period of time, especially when your term comes to an end or when you sign long-term agreements with companies. So every 5 years, the company also requires you to reinvest in some kind of infrastructure refurbishment. The fourth area is to understand the ROI, return on the investment. And like I said, return on investment is very, very subjective. No two brands would have the same ROI, even if they are in the same industry. If I say retail gives you similar returns, so all brands in the retail segment have similar returns. No, that is not the case. Right? So you need to understand the ROI and the longevity of you to stay in the business and make money. And that's how the ROI is calculated, the margins in the business. And the fifth area, which is very important, is to understand the legal terms in the agreement, how the company has defined the exit, the obligations, support, and how the company proposes to resolve any conflict which arises between them and you, as a business partner. And then comes your training and marketing support, which company gives you. A lot of times I get a question, is the company responsible for doing my local store marketing? No, the company would give you all support in terms of designs, creatives, your social media, Instagram pages. The local store marketing is a responsibility with the franchisee, but any kind of national marketing, regional marketing, corporate marketing, that becomes the responsibility with the company. So friends, these are 5 assessment tools which I talked about. And if I talk about the process at Franchise India that we follow, we start and work with any prospective business buyer through 3 stages of helping them buy a business, where stage 1 is exploring of the opportunity. So based on your own profile and 4 fitments, which means your profile, your education, maybe your experience in similar business, that becomes a strategic fitment for us. We understand that. Second fitment is operational fitment, which means how much time you have to run and operate the business, your time involvement in the business, if you will have somebody in the family or your partners who will be involved in running the business. Third fitment is the market fitment. If the business is viable financially and also from the demand and gap point of view to be run in that market is a third fitment that we consider. And fourth fitment is the financial fitment, which means the investment that you want to do in the business. And based on these four fitments, our teams at Franchise India, we curate a portfolio of brands which fits in these four requirements for a franchise partner. And then we take you through the entire discovery process where you discover these brands, get to one-to-one meeting with these companies, meet the decision makers, meet some of their franchise partners, see the locations, do a tour, where my entire team is involved with every single investor in the entire process. And finally, after the brand has been selected, our teams, our advisors work with every business buyer to sign the letter of intent and the agreement. So this is in all, friends, which I wanted to present. Every day we bring in one new opportunity to our investors. So at this stage, even if you have not decided what brand you want to start or you're still exploring any specific industry, every single day we do a lot of informative sessions. We bring in one fresh franchise opportunity to all our business buyers every single day. And this we have been doing for the last 5 years now. And today we have an opportunity that we bring to all of you at 12 o'clock. And this is something that we bring in every single day at 12 o'clock noon, which is called Business Opportunity Over Chai. And today we have a company by the name of Pink Candy. The founders of the company are coming today, and I'll also advise if you're looking to attend the session, I will share with you a registration link that you can click and register. It just takes a few minutes. If you allow me, maybe few seconds, I'll just post the link to all of you. Just allow me a minute. I'll just post the link for all of you, and you can copy that link and register. Guys, I've just posted in our chat box. I've pasted the link for Pink Candy. We have today the team of Pink Candy and their founders who are coming and discussing this franchise opportunity, where the company would talk about the industry at large, their business model, the investment it takes, the support that company offers. And like this, we have at Franchise India a library of nearly 2,000 companies where their business model information is available free to every single investor. I'll also leave our hotline number, which is 9717683838. I'll write that down. It's 9717683838 is the hotline number. You can reach out on this number. And also our email ID, which is feedback@franchiseindia.in. If you want to reach out to us exploring any opportunity, want to meet any of our teams across India, we'll really be looking forward to meeting with you. I have two shows which are happening this weekend. We do these shows every single month, minimum 15 cities we cover. I have two shows happening this month. One is in Bombay, which is happening on 26th of January, which is Sunday. All our friends who have joined from Bombay and nearby cities can definitely go to this event. And we have another show which is happening in Delhi, which is 25th this Saturday. So all our friends from North, Delhi, NCR who are looking to explore these opportunities can reach out to us. And if you need more information on both these shows and you want to register yourself to visit and understand the companies which are coming and visiting in this event, you can again reach out on the hotline number or the email ID. Our teams will be happy to come on a call with you and also get you connected with our regional teams to understand and take you through the companies participating and understand your investment requirements. So friends, thank you so much for being with us.